Hey, Chris. Welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing? You old. The Dread Wolf. Greetings. Welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing? What you up to tonight, bud? I hate the Plains of Oblivion. I'm playing the wrong game for that, it seems like. Hey.
Thanks, just chilling.
Hell yeah. Well, I hope your day's going alright so far. Do anything fun and exciting today?
This is the 27th of last seed, the year of Akatosh 433. These are the closing
Homework.
days of the third era.
Ugh. That is always fun. If by always I mean never. I hate homework. Hate ed. El Goro Magnifico. Greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? What kind of homework you working on, Dreadwolf?
When I thought joining game design would be a great option, lo and behold, it's long and boring.
Ooh, that is significantly less fun than long and hard. So, out of curiosity, what does the homework look like for game design? So I'll admit, I thought doing game design would be a pretty cool option myself. Granted, I was more probably along the lines of writer, like for the story kind of thing, but not the actual design itself.
I'd have to say the hardest part about it is honestly the long overdrawn dot paperwork. You don't.
Ooh, gotcha. Yeah, I'm fairly used to the paperwork myself. My job. But I'll take your word for it. I don't have the brains for college anyway.
Really spend too much time in the actual gaming.
Really.
Really?
Orange, dude. Siegfried, greetings. Willkommen. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? So did the origins actually make a difference on gameplay? Just gonna... oh. So how long have you been doing game design or taking classes for game design in any case?
I'm going in for my bachelor's now.
Oh, damn. So you've been at it for a while. 2 to 3 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Are you doing a minor as well, or just doing game design as your kind of sole focus? Taco Cat, welcome to the stream, bud. How's it going?
Computer science.
Ah, I gotcha. At least you're smart enough to try to cover everything there. Very well rounded, I'd say. Eyes are
Yeah,
pretty.
it's not exactly a walk in a park, though.
Yeah, I believe it. Okay, you can be a stoner.
I'd have to say I can't look at games the same way I used to that much, I could say.
Really? Did you look at them now and just see a bunch of like technical detail, that kind of stuff? Well, I can be a Sith.
Yeah, pretty much I can pretty much talk about how to design that. For instance,
Gotcha.
You're changing the eye color. That's part of it, UI.
Yeah, that would get tedious after a while. I don't doubt. Hey, Versin. Oh, I missed it. Greetings, whoever you were.
I originally wanted to just go for game testing. Game tester, man, that's it.
It's legitimately exactly what I was thinking of, too. That's funny.
Now every time I look at a game, I tear it apart, and I explain to people how to do it.
I could see that being a pain in the ass. Kind of like losing your innocence. You can't just enjoy it anymore. Win the Renegade. Greetings. Welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
100% like losing your innocence.
Yep. Hey, buddy.
Just been busy trying not to stretch myself thin.
Hey, thank you for the heart, me.
Worst part is games are actual layers.
Games are like onions. Onions have layers. I was going for a Shrek thing. So, Quinn, what are you trying not to stretch yourself from or for?
Well, good night.
Oh, all right. Well, hey, I appreciate you stopping by, man. I hope you have a great night and good luck with your homework. Oh,
Oblivion Remastered, and just work and social life.
gotcha. Yes, Oblivion Remastered. Got it now with they brought it down to the lower tier of Game Pass, so I can actually play it again. Sorry, I'm gonna take forever. Still not be able to nail what I'm aiming for.
What are you trying to go for?
Well, me, but it's not working so far. Hey, El Cuilo. I still can't say your name. How's it going? And Jen, welcome to the stream. How you doing? I think I can make one of those horrific Oblivion characters, and I'd be closer than I am right now. Well, I already did the eyes. Oh, did do the eyes already. No, that would be. No. They don't have really the blue green that I'm looking for. I guess that's kind of close. Really narrow eyes. Yeah, this ain't working. Still looks better than I do. Now my least favorite part. I'm gonna pretend I've actually shaved recently, although that looks just awful too. Why don't they have like a stubble? Isn't that a little stubble, just so it doesn't look completely horrific, you know? But now, I need to change the color of my eyebrows, or not the color, the shape. But yeah, well, I don't know. What do you think? Close enough? Justin, welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud?
Pretty close.
As close as I'm going to be able to get it. I'm not good enough. That's okay. Still looks moderately better than I do. Oh well. Eh, whatever. Sure. Let's go with that. So what kind of social stuff are you trying to balance out with your life? Big one. Not that big.
But you can't bend steel, can you, boy? You can't do anything to get out of here. And those big muscles, they're going to waste away. When the end comes,
Can't wait to kill this guy.
you won't even have the strength to cry for your mother.
Mammy.
That's right. You're going to die in here. You hear me, Nord? You're going to die in here.
Hell yeah, I hope so.
Hear that? The guards are coming for you.
Not good enough. Greetings. Welcome to the stream. How's it going?
No, they're dead. I know it.
Sure, you look like you've seen some.
What's this prisoner doing here?
They
This
both
cell
look
is
like
supposed to be off limits.
they've seen some shit, especially this dude.
Usual mix-up with the watch.
Never mind. Get that gate open.
Get out of the way. Oh yeah, stand back. Oh,
No sign of pursuit. Stay put, prisoner.
Good. Let's go. We're not out of this yet.
You. I've seen you.
your worst nightmares.
Face. You are the one from
When I see your face.
Scars, what gods give me strength. Assassin, my bite. You were perhaps as that. You will.
Please, sire, we must keep moving.
Keep walking. We won't knock down those walls. Keep walking. But she isn't gonna fall. It's plain to see. Their brains are very small, so keep walking.
Don't try anything.
And be knocking down our walls.
Just stay out of our way.
Yes, sir, master. I'm a good boy. I'll stay out of your way. Vámonos, way.
Stand aside, prisoner.
Don't tell me what to do. You don't have enough badges to train. Plain, see, your brains are very small. Using walking.
The captain's down.
Yeah, how you like that? I
You all
just
right, sire?
killed most of them.
She's dead. Keep quiet. How could they be waiting for us here?
Magic.
Don't know, but it's too late to go back now. Don't worry, sire. We will get you out of here.
Bet.
They won't be the first to underestimate the blades. I'll take point. Let's move. You stay here.
Autobots, roll out. Yeah. Oh, I missed. So, what's happening? Benz, how you doing, bud? Yes, quite dashing, to say. Mashing. Hey, swoop not. Greetings. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Care about not what I'm going Yeah. That's not clear. You silly thing. Bows. Hey, Cole. Greetings and welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing? I miss you.
Guess.
With every... Yes, that sounds like unpleasant. Oh. Chicken butt? Raul Gaming greetings and welcome to the stream. What? What did you do, Cole?
Chicken butt law.
Ah, I beat you to it. Was that what you're going for? Or did you actually have something surprising to tell me? Yet how much harder?
No, that's it, law.
Oh, good. Ah, like a bounce. Michaela, greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going? Oh, dead. You dead, you foul beast. So, what'd you do today, Cole? Anything fun and exciting? Just the usual? Hey, Patrick, greetings.
Yeah, I was off finally beat a boss I was stuck on in Crimson.
Nice. I assume you're quite a bit farther ahead now than I was.
Just a little lull.
That's Matimus Prime. Greetings. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? So are you still doing dual wield, or did you decide what kind of weapon loadout you're going to go with now? Satan? Satan? Greetings. However you say your name. Welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing? Cheese! Cheese for everyone! Wait, scratch that. Cheese for no one.
Yo, I just got this sword to handed. That's 27 damage.
Nice. You kicking ass and taking names, or just taking ass and kicking names? Over encumbered. Psychedelic Moses. Greeting. That's kind of a cool name. How's it going, bud?
Both haha.
Oh, good. Yeah, what is the skill setup? Is it one-handed and two-handed?
Bubblegum haha.
Yeah. Came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Niggas listen know what do I? Eliaso. Yogi yogi arove. Still Mig. Yes, I went with me. Couldn't really nail me. Flatbed Ed, greetings and welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing tonight? Well, thank you. I tried. Not very well, but I tried. Is there other... Feels like that's way too easy. Say, no one ever. Oh, that's why. Let's. Oops. Did I do that? Hate it. Walking around and suddenly a bunch of logs fall on you. It's the worst. Hey ho, silver, away! Oh, you know what I need to do? Need to save. Oops. How rude. I did not mean to just cut you down in your, well, not really prime, but distance. In any case, you're Laka, greetings. Welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing tonight? Flocka, flocka. Oh, who's gonna die? But not you. So I will take your staff. I would love to take your mighty staff in both of my hands. King Lightskin, greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? You find a repair house. Insu.
So, what was that you said, Lord?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Fruit Bats, welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? I definitely didn't say about anything about taking your mighty staff with both and or either of my hands or other places.
Haha.
Oh, come again. Ooh. I mean, that probably would have been a good idea if you hadn't gotten here already. Alexon Knox, greetings. Welcome. Oh, welcome to the stream. How's it going? Cowboy, greetings. How's it going? Welcome to the stream, man.
No, he is not one of them.
Brother Ape, welcome.
He must help us. As you,
And Flatbed Ed, welcome back.
why I trust you. They've not seen what I've. How can I explain? Listen.
They've not seen what I've seen. He saw me naked. He's scarred for
Did
life.
they add this to premium or something?
Oh, it's on the mid tier now. Initially, it was only on premium. It's on the second of the three, I guess.
I've served the nine all my days.
Interesting.
Indeed. I'm excited. Oh, and you'll be happy to see I did my best to make myself, including the balls. Hunger Wolf, greetings. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? I don't know, increased speed is all. But I feel like it goes fast enough in this game. I'm gonna go with classic warrior. I'm gonna go for a two-handed medium or heavy armor build. Forget if this game has medium armor. I think it's just light and heavy though. I think Morrowind's the one that has medium.
No trophies of my triumphs precede me, but I have lived well, and my met in to fate. My dreams
Abadibla.
grant me, but in your face.
Mirsats, greetings. Welcome to the stream.
Such hope. I go to my grave. A tongue you shall.
Abre la puerta. Vámonos. Chica tu madre. Oh, wow, thanks. Give me that torch, and I'll torch them. All right. Torch, torture. Yeah, either way. Potato, tomato. Nailed it. Nope. Oh. Nope, not you. Want the potion. Oathless. Oathless, welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? Glad to have you stop by. What you up to today, bud? Hey, thank you for the heart me. Much obliged. Is very nice.
Being sleepy.
Well, with that. Well, I didn't mean to hit you. If you would get out of the bloody way. Rude. Oathless, you act like you worked all day or something. Come on. Oh, by the way, here you go. Made me best as I could. Undead Drauger. Greetings. Welcome to the stream. Yes. Even the ball. Although he looks considerably better than I do.
About time.
Yeah, the only absolute lie in this is the fit warrior. That ain't anywhere near the truth. Lyman back. Will be all. Shayla, greetings. Welcome to the stream. How you doing today? And Undead Drauger, what are you up to? It's a trap.
What about that side passage back there? Worth a try. Let's go.
Yes, let us. Come on, Vamonos. That's kind of cool. They had a fucking roaches and shit. Huh. Ooh. Ooh, that's a lot of roaches. Gross. Legion, greetings. Welcome to the stream. How you doing, bud?
First playthrough?
No, I've played it since the OG back in the day. But I did start a new game just tonight. Oh. I choose. Yes. Some of you may die. It's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Playing the remaster?
Nope. I did also, I played the remaster once before, but then they added the tiered bullshit for Xbox, and I downgraded, so I couldn't play it. But they just dropped it down to the middle tier now, so now I've got it. Saw something. Was it space? Not actually. Heir to Slytherin. Blah blah. LD, greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? No, I don't want that. Strength. And an endurance. Stupid blade. Athletics. Oh, duh. It's also athletics, so I can cheaply level up. That's awesome. Yes. I used to be an adventurer like, but one day I took an arrow to the Red Queen. Greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going? Bad at gaming. Me too. Greetings and welcome to the stream. How you doing, bud?
You must get the good. I'll by the
Oh, you took all of my swords? Good swords? You suck. And sword. Big Iron, greetings. Welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing tonight? Glad to have you stop by, bud. Anything fun and exciting going on for you today? And Aphic and Oathless, same question for you guys. Been up to anything interesting? Die. Ooh, yay. I prefer dog. Hey, thank you for the likes, man. Must miss that. So, Big Iron, what you been up to, bud? Eight. The sewers. Good. Same. Apparently not. Oh. A jump. Lone Trooper, greetings and welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing? There's the Ranger with
Look at this
the big gun.
handsome male.
Space. Didn't get any today. What you up to, bud? Big iron on his head. Who that? Ah, it's you.
Not much.
Come on. Good. Hopefully at least a chill day for you. Nothing too terribly fun and exciting, though.
B.O.B.
Oh, rat. Oh, that was not even what I wanted to. Whatever. Logan,
I'm
greetings.
getting chased by Ghost Bird's Law.
Oh, sounds exciting. You take your medicine today. Hate it when ghost birds chase you. Oh. Right. Hey, hand-to-hand increased. That's what I never cared about or used once. And fuck. There. Just sing in the rain. Just singing in the rain. What glorious feeling I'm happy again. Oh, did little mug crab fall down into the pool? He did. He fell down and went. It's definitely a mouth breather. Just like dear old Papa. People don't like it when you talk to them with your weapon drawn. A shame for them. Toss a coin to your beggar. Mick Muffin, greetings and welcome to the stream. How you doing, bud? And Safe, welcome. Long time no see. How you doing?
Hey, Oblivion.
Hey, yeah.
Jesus, another bus. I gotta go back home, grab food, and come back. Jeez.
Fire Demon Gaming, greetings and welcome to the stream. Yeah, always good to carry a bunch of food.
I love me some Oblivion.
Oh, good. I do like Oblivion as well. Good shit. Is it a good deal? I feel like I'm getting ripped off a little bit.
That's a fair deal.
Is it? Still doubt.
That's more than I'd usually pay.
I doubt it. Please. Pricey, sir.
Take care.
I'm glad this guy at Oak Camp cooks meals now.
Oh, he cooks meals on his own now? Like, for free or just for you to buy?
Buy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's Verbal won't work.
May I interest you in some of my fine wares?
Might?
I love him, he's my Pookie.
If you say so. The hell? They don't have any. Oh, got a.
Come back and see. Leave me alone.
Dude. Leave me alone. Now. So, Safe, what have you been up to today, bud? Bean, greetings.
Okay, now this guy, you screwed law.
Ah.
Hi.
Hello, how do you do? Master Bean. Well, are you all decked out and ready to batter some bitches? Two-stroke greetings. Welcome.
Great, how about yourself?
Ah, so far so good. Chilling, playing some Oblivion.
Bald.
You're bald. That's right. Takes two hands to handle my sword. Oh, I don't want it. Take it back. Hello, lizard person. Run through the city. Find some stuff to take. Run through the city. Something, something. Something that rhymes with take. William, greetings. Welcome.
You have my ear, citizen.
I don't watch your ear. That's disgusting. Ah. No. Chestnut candy steaks. That sounds like something that would be on Urban Dictionary. Oh yeah, you want to get yourself a chestnut handy? Do it.
What is it, citizen?
Thought police ain't got nothing on me. I ain't got a single thought in my head. So there. Joke's on you. See, so greetings. Welcome. And Sunji, welcome to the stream, bud. Wee. Wee. Level up that acrobatics.
I know about you and the bug.
You don't know shit. Keep it shut.
I am Epi.
Hello, Epi. Like EpiPen. Steven, welcome to the stream. How's it going?
What bug?
Don't you worry about it, Bean.
No, like sleep.
Ah. Oh, wait till you get old. You'll be sleepy 24/7 for no reason. No matter.
Democracy officer. It's him.
It is. The thought police are not democracy. Don't worry about the bug. The bug is a myth. There was no bug. I mean, technically, it was a snail, but I mean, no, there was no snail. It wasn't. It was not a snail or a bug.
Is it like a software bug?
A myth, you state?
A myth indeed. In sooth, I say. Yeah, we'll go with soft. Definitely the only kind of bug I've ever done anything freaky. Just disregard whatever Afix says. It's a lie.
No. He
caused treason.
I only caused a little bit of treason. Besides, the thought police were fascists. They weren't Democrat. Codeine Cowboy. It's treason, then.
Not affecting the Discord server or your streaming or Yukon community. I don't.
Fair enough.
I don't care, lol.
Acrobatics. Yay.
Because I'm only worried about your live streams, you and your community.
Aw, thanks. Switch view.
I also know about the squid, Dot, and the cyborg.
I mean, the cyborg was one time. The squid, well, we've all seen enough hentai to know where that's going.
I'm only worried about your two-handed sword show, haha.
Oh, well, it definitely needs some love and attention, so.
How many were with him?
Okay, I know what you guys are talking about now.
I don't even know what we're talking about now, so I doubt it. And we'll say it was just the one squid. I mean, no, there was no squid, so there wasn't even.
You guys are indeed freaky.
Indeed. You must be to be part of this show. You might even say it's a freaky show. No, there's definitely no squid, especially not 6 of them. Well, yeah, no squids at all. Neither 6 nor 1. But especially not 6.
He lies.
I definitely do not ever do that.
Well, I understand why it's in your name.
Exactly. See? Clone gets it. I mean, besides, all 8 of those squids were pretty cool.
Sure?
I mean, yeah, none of those squids were. I mean, there were no squids, so yeah, it was all good. Eric, greetings and welcome to the stream. How you doing? Rumbling mine? That does not look like a mine, but okay.
You guys are interesting specimen category.
Yeah, you might be saying that.
Are you sure, Mark?
I did not touch her. I did not touch. Oh, hi, Mark. Hey, thank you for the roses, Aphic. Much obliged.
Yes? Can I help you?
Yes, cover your face, sir. You are.
Will come out.
Who's Mark?
I don't know. Adam Anomaly. Greetings.
He's up. I'm Brother Joffrey.
There was some. I don't know what the name of it, but there's some movie that was notoriously awful, and that was one of the lines. I did not hit her. I didn't touch her. Oh, hi, Mark. Was the line.
Emperor, you brought me by the 9. Who are you?
Aphic, I am so sure I'm positive. And it's yours.
W line, though.
Right?
But Officers Adams never touch, so therefore I technically didn't punch him.
As unlikely
Yeah.
as your story sounds, I believe you.
I believe it.
Strange destiny of Uriel
Uh,
I am one of one night.
uh,
He never took now. His name
blah, blah, blah.
and please
I'm so lonely. Not all the other Helldivers dislike me. They call me Conquest. Just a tool.
help yourself with whatever
Wait,
you
since
need.
Adam's never touched, does that mean I go to prison if I punch someone?
Probably. Called aggravated assault. While you're up, throw me up to like here. Or that. Oh, just walk off. Ooh, piece of candy.
But how? Because I never technically touched him.
I know a lot of guys that did similar thing. That's they live where I work.
GTG.
Aw. All right. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, man. Hope you have a fabulous rest of the night, and I hope to see you again soon. Steel Claymore.
How do you do?
Dankeschön. How do you do what? If it's math, I couldn't tell you. Or nearly anything else. Still couldn't tell you. We are all tools of the conquest, David. Fear not. True soldier. Nothing but a tool, an extension of the governing body, with which it is used to bash the brains out of another government body. Can you bash the head out of the brains out of a body, do you think? Sounds kind of counterintuitive. Back to the market.
Dovahkiin.
Oh, Joaquin. Ra the Muff Goblin. That's a cool name. Welcome to the stream. How you doing, bud? Hey, this is an illegal gathering. You guys need to break up, please. 6 people in one group is that's gang activity. Jeremy the 4th Star. Greetings. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Best
Illegal?
defense. Yes. An illegal gathering. Illegal assembly. Only if you're in prison.
I'm doing quite well. How fast the day been, my good man?
Mine day has to been. Yeah, it's been. It's kind of a standard day at work. I came home, played with some kids, played the game, then started the stream. Played a different game. What, anything fun and exciting going on for you today, bud?
Booth, I'm in trouble.
You got a great deal there.
Ooh, thou art in trouble.
Hold up, ha ha ha.
Yeah, no, wait a minute.
Autocorrect at it again, impeding upon my speech.
Ah. 'Tis but a scratch upon thine arm. Honor. Apparently I have my own autocorrect, and it hates me. It's,
A pleasure to serve.
it will be. Pleasure,
Can I
sir.
interest you in?
Have you got?
Tis just an arm. I haven't another.
What are you gonna do? Bleed on me?
You too.
Too. Such a negative parting way. Parting. Hey, thank you for the follow, bud. Appreciate you. I'll bite your ankles. Get back here. Your mother, welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? Oh, you can just fast travel without discovering shit? Well, that's handy. Which is a lot better than footy. But, you know, it's just my opinion. That's coward talk. Dude, how much you been smoking? Look how red his eyes are.
There was a huge creature, something out of...
Bob. No.
Goodbye.
I'm just tired.
I don't even notice anymore. I guess you can get used to anything.
Really? Any now. Get used to anything you say. Jesse, greeting. Welcome. How's it going? Tim Finnegan lived in a walking street, a gentleman Irishman, mighty yachty, had a brook so rich and sweet. Oh shit, I don't remember the words. Dun, 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 he carried a hut. Tim had suffered sort of a Tiflin way, with a love for the liquor board, Tim was born. He helped the man on his way each day, but with a drop of a creature every morn.
I like the Obus spawns that makes it easier to travel in this game.
Obus spawns? Oh.
This is no place.
One for the dot out and oh, yes. So agreed. At the very least, even if there's nothing close, at least you can fly there. And boy, are my arms tired.
Some may, and now the only thing.
Sends to your partner, oh, your trousers shake. Wasn't it the truth that I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Hey, Dono Bites. Greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? Moonstep, welcome. Nailed it. One morning Tim felt rather full, his head felt heavy, which made him shake. He fell from a ladder and he broke his skull. They carried him home, his corpse to wake. Hey, Dave Hill, greetings. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? Tim, my boy, now why did you die? Such a nice clean corpse have you ever seen? Oh, shit, I hate it when I can't remember the words to the 3 songs that I know. Or used to know, apparently. Up said Betty McGee. One for the dot out and steer partner on the floor, your trousers shake. Wasn't it the truth that I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake.
Captain Matthias sent us in to try and close the gate. We were ambushed, trapped, and picked off. I managed to escape, but the others are strewn across the bridge. They took Minion off to the big... I'm getting out of here.
Zeluz. How's it going? Where's Ellis?
The captain is still home. All right.
Yeah, you'll just get. Yes, I'd expect. Ooh. Hey, Dave, thank you for the follow, bud. Much obliged, man. And how are you doing tonight? Toby or Loby? His Infernal Majesty, like him, the band? I haven't heard a reference to them in a long time. Welcome, indeed. You probably left already, but I love, or used to love him. I haven't listened to them for a long time. I appreciate the likes, Dave. Let's see. It's fleshy pods, my favorite. Hard, balanced breakfast. Did you have your fleshy pods today? ¿Dónde? ¿Dónde está? Where is Muerte? Oh, Muerte. Oh. Now, I need a little refresher on my Spanish. Oh, go. These things. These little flying spinner bastards. Whoop. 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 Hey, I found the door. Thunk. It's adorable. No, that door. Chase. Excuse you. It's very rude. Jumping off all suddenly. Whoop. I do like how you can just sidestep attacks in this game. Whoop. I thought there was another body I could loot, like a Remora. Apparently not. Troy, greetings. Used to have a pastor by your exact name. That's kind of unique. Roy Snyder. Interesting. And Eddie Bear and Super Swoosh and Ryan Lawyer. Somehow I missed all of you guys coming in. I apologize, but welcome. Super Swoosh, welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? And Ninja Greetings. Can't believe I saw you. Not a very good ninja. It's okay. I won't tell him. Whoop. Oh, I missed.
Doing good. I thought about getting this. You enjoying it?
Yeah, I grew up on the original one, so it's nice. It's a little bit faster paced. Plus, you have sprint, which is an immense improvement. Can't go wrong with this. Yeah, but yeah, I'd say it's worth.
I love Skyrim. Never played this one.
Ooh, yeah. Started out on Morrowind, and yeah, I just grew up with it through the years. Wow, that was rude. How dare you attack me before the door even opens? The audacity. Yeah, Skyrim, though, is still my #1 favorite game of all time. I'd say you made a good choice with it. Downside about this game, it doesn't have, like, the dual wielding or the handheld magic. But arguably, that is actually better in some cases, because you don't have to waste your hands on spells. You just have your spell equipped and a weapon.
GTG, see you next stream.
Hey, right on, Bean. I appreciate you stopping by, bud. I hope you have a great night. Fantastic. All right. Take it easy, man. Ooh. Whoop. Whoop. Sidestep. Citadel needs a key. A key. My kingdom for a key. Hey, Nova, welcome to the stream, and cheers, bud. How you doing tonight, Nova? Cherry rum. That was my second glass. You can talk to me? Oh. Well, that was immersive, I guess. Find the stone and free me. Oh yeah, what you up to today, Nova? Get the word out for a second there. Oh, there we go. Abre la puerta. Tactical Beskar, greetings. Long time no see, bud. How you doing? Hey, thank you for the likes. Somebody hit me.
Hell yeah, brother. Good seeing you. Love this game.
Def.
Meow.
Oh, shit. Well, thank you for the galaxy. Holy shit, man. Very long time no see, but I appreciate you. How's things been for you, man? Oh. Oh. So did you grow up playing the, sorry, asking tons of questions at one time. How are you is the first one. What you been up to, second. Did you grow up playing the original Oblivion? Or did you play it when it came out, I should say? Either. Third. Richard, greeting. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Who is throwing fireballs? Damn, thank you very much, though, for the galaxy. That's awesome. ¿Dónde está? Tú eres muerte. I like how Spanish just sounds like you're casting spells.
Man has wiped through Windrose yet? Great game.
Ooh, I have not tried Windrose. It looks good, though. I'd love to try it. Wait until, well, hopefully it goes on Steam Summer Sale. But I was kind of wondering, though. I haven't heard any reviews. Have you been playing it on stream? We'll have to check out your next stream if you have. Really, I've been playing Crimson Desert a lot lately, and just kind of took a break and playing Helldivers last night and this tonight. Ooh. Oh, somebody drank all my rum. James. Nice. We be streaming it tomorrow? For Liberty. Man, after spending all that time in the hot Oblivion, I'm thirsty. I could use a nice tall glass of Liberty. I do like Helldivers. That's pretty good.
If you save before you pick up the Sicilian stole, you can load the game until you get the buff you want.
Really? Well, I appreciate it, James.
Wanna be on Arc a bit end prob end on Windrose Juice Super Chill game.
Hell yeah. I will have to try that, James, on the next Oblivion game. Thank you for that tip. James, I love your tip. It's a wonderful tip. It's beautiful. Best tip I've ever seen.
That's how I ended up visible 100%.
Nice. It was kind of sad they took away a lot of the glitches you used to be able to do, or maybe not glitches, but exploits, like the duplication one with scrolls. That was my favorite. We're using, what was it, paintbrushes as stairs, or a ladder, as it were.
What's it like out there? We were beginning to fear we were the only
Indeed. Considerably better than the original.
brother. You too.
You too. Yeah, thanks, lady. Ugh. What time do you plan on streaming Tactical? So I can try to at least catch some of it and see what Windrose looks like. Wiz, greetings. How you doing, man?
If you came to me for help, you're more of a look around. What good is a priest? Emperor Uriel Septon? You think the Emperor is my... No, you must have... You spoke to... I don't know. What does... No, I'll go.
Do you know the duplication glitch?
I am beyond here and next hour playing new Arc map, but it'll probably crash out and jump on Windrose.
Right on. I'll try to catch you before you jump off. James, I knew the scroll duplication glitch. I don't know what the new duplication is. I know the scroll one doesn't work anymore. So I think I have two scrolls. Same. By the way, Tactical, I just want to say I do love your streaming setup. Like, you look super badass playing. Like, I think the last time I watched you playing Call of Duty, but you look pretty badass. Just saying. Going. Shit, where did you come from? You guys like action and tactical shit? Check out Tactical Beskar. Easy. Don't do shit. What am I supposed to be doing? Totally forgot. Okay.
I shall become the ankle biter.
Do it. Bite my ankles, Avik. I dare you. I'll do to you what I did to all those not core. What are they? Okay. Shit. What are those little tiny, stupid black and brown dogs? Yorkies. That's it. I'll do to you what I did to those Yorkies all those years ago. Punch you like a football. Yorkie, Corgi. I was close. Mm-hmm.
Get on Helldivers. Find an empty container and put your item in there to dupe and pick up button and drop button.
Pick up and drop while you're in the container still? Like the container menu, I mean?
We must play Helldivers.
One of these days. Sorry, I've got that computer simulator game going on my other screen. Something I definitely could not do on my old computer. You want 2 programs running? As if. You are lucky. I would. Jeez, dude. How much crack did you smoke? See his eyes? Not an alien. Greetings. I'm glad to meet you, fellow human. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, same time, and it will say drop number, but item will stay in box and inventory.
Hell yeah. I will. Knock that out really quick. Hang on. Very quick. Don't tell me what to do, soldier person. I do what I want. On an empty container, put your item in there. Up button and drop. There we go. Oh, it has to be empty. Store. You have to do single item, or can you do like quantity?
Multiple.
I play Xbox, so it's an X at the same time.
Oh, X and what? E? I'm on Xbox. Yeah. Ian? Taylor, greetings and welcome. How's it going, bud? Figure this shit out. If it's the last thing I do.
X and RB to change tab, my bad.
X and R. Oh, gotcha.
Easy clip if you watch a video.
I will have to watch that.
Xbox is for people who like men.
Hey, it's at least for people who like humans, compared to you PlayStation alien fuckers.
What can I do for you?
There's nothing wrong with liking men.
What can I interest you in?
The only homo I am is Homo sapien.
PlayStation is for people who likes pizza without sauce.
There you go. You got it, Afik. Hell yeah. Testify.
PlayStation sucks fingers after they eat MCDS fries.
That's funny. I like that one.
New York best pizza in the world.
Doesn't mean PlayStation doesn't suck fingers or eat pizza without sauce.
Take care.
This is a dumb question. Microsoft is.
Louisiana, no culinary got shit on me.
Ooh,
I like to sauce it up.
I do agree with that. I hate how 90% of pizza you get from like shitty pizza chains like Pizza Hut, Domino's, all that is like 90% cheese, 10% sauce. It's got to be like 40%, well, maybe 50-50. I gotta get lost in the sauce, man. I love me some pizza sauce. Aside from the acid reflux afterwards. That sucks. I would love to go to New Orleans, though. I think that'd be so cool. I like me some Cajun stuff. Aside from Tabasco, that's my one blasphemous quality. I do not like Tabasco sauce. It tastes like slightly hot vinegar. That's about it. Zoop. Whoa. What the shit? Just teleported. Ooh, speaking of reflux. Oh, that's unpleasant. Ah, damn it. Just realized I was supposed to have talked to the person up front. Oh, it's so gross.
Liquor will do it, haha.
Oh, I wish it was liquor. It was the instant mashed potatoes with my mac and cheese. Like the fat American fuck I am. A ready
Mexican
greeting.
hot sauce like Valentina or Tapatio shits on Tabasco.
Hell yeah. My man James. You got it. I do love me some Tapatio and Valentina.
I just can't sleep. Are you ready?
Rin, greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? Dude, you look like you need some sleep. Orcavatch! At least they have facial expressions, I guess. Even if they are super over-exaggerated. I need 1.5 more cups of... I need it! Oh. Gamora churl. Such a weird churl.
Need to get the Duke glitch down. You got me bow to hop on Oblivion.
Hell yeah. I wonder, does it have to be like a specific type of container, maybe? I would be surprised if it did, but... Okay, let's try this again. Let's see. Let me just try one, just to see if that makes a difference. Whoop. In.
Drop item and switch page same time.
Oh, so you mean before I even put it in the box, technically?
Exact same time.
You're sure it's X and right bump, like take all and switch category, not page, category.
Yes.
They didn't like patch it or something. Let me try this. Maybe it doesn't work with potions. It doesn't work with anything. I will get this shit down.
It'll say you picked it up and it will stay in containers. I did it today. If you did right, it will say how many to drop.
Whole page will still be gray.
No. And different variations. It's still not working. I may indeed have to watch the videos. Tight working. Look at my nipples. They are so small and round. Alright, I'm going to be right back. I gotta get a refill, and just bear with me. Give me like 2 minutes. Dos, por favor. Un moment.
I may not be explaining right, but it's about right you probably have to see it.
Gotcha. I'll see if I can find the video real quick, too. Alright, be right back. Alright, I'm back. Thank you for the follow, by the way. I'm watching the at least 3.
It's so easy, lol, harder to explain.
Welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3, everyone. Lol.
it just like that.
I don't think that's where.
If the number item comes up, it says drop items should be in inventory and container.
I think that did what I wanted to. Fulton Games. Greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? Get it. Well, I guess it only works to dupe one item at a time, but it creates however many you've got. Let's try this.
People who play Xbox practice by choking on their toothbrush.
What? Sounds like you're peanut butter and jealous.
Gotta change page at same time as pick up.
Ah, that's not. Yeah, so I kind of sort of got it for the most part.
People who play Xbox put ketchup on their mac and cheese.
Hey, have you ever had ketchup on mac and cheese? It's, well, it's not great, but, you know, it's okay. All right. Well, hey, I mostly worked. I got a bunch of potions. More. Yeah. Yay. Well, hey, thank you for the tips. I appreciate it, man. It was most helpful. All right, now to go finish destroying all of.
We wiped the bastards out. It's safe to pull those people.
Much obliged.
Let's
Cheers.
get in there and make sure
The
they're
more
all
you
right.
drop, the more it doubles. Some quest items don't dupe.
This is only the beginning of the battle,
Mm.
Batch. We can discuss
Good to
the
know.
phase once the civilians are
Nova, what is that
People who play
sus
Xbox
face
rank their
for?
dogs Red Rocket.
Hey, you know, the dogs can't do it themselves. Sometimes you just gotta help them out. Don't be selfish. Over here acting like you ain't never helped your dog out with, you know,
Sir,
helping hand.
we're all that's left. Barrack Indian,
If you ever feel sad for them,
and these civilians.
they don't have opposable thumbs. They can't play with
There's
themselves.
no one else.
There were others, sir.
Ketchup and mac and cheese.
We tried to convince them it was dangerous.
Hey,
but they
salsa and mac and cheese, though,
Very well.
also not the best.
The chapel has been cleared and these people
But it's okay, though.
escort them to the
Not bad.
south of here.
Better than ketchup.
But sir, I want to help fight.
Clearly, you've never been
Will,
poor.
soldier. Once they're secure, get back here immediately. We'll need every available blade, and there'll be plenty of fighting to go around.
Sir, yes, sir. Civilians.
Sir, yes,
time to
sir.
move out. Let's go.
I like salsa on eggs.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Hey, Score Bunny, greetings. Welcome to the stream. How you doing tonight? And thank you for the heart, man.
Good evening.
I didn't really think
Good
this
evening.
would work. Maybe
Dude, this dude looks like he smoked one too many bowls of crystal.
not even close. This was only the first.
Sir, did you last sleep 3.5 days ago?
We'll need to get inside the castle. You've come this far with us. Will you go further? If we're
I'll go
going
all the
to
way.
succeed,
Savia
I
Matius.
ain't good. Been busy getting my daughter to bed.
Ooh,
nothing compared to the battle.
that can definitely be a challenge. We've just upgraded our kids to toddler beds so they can get out anytime they want. That's been
Let me know and we'll get underway.
all right. Been an experience. Yes, I'm ready to go. Let's GTFO. Come on, man.
You know the drill.
Got all night.
Add me on Xbox Bud 21.
Bud.
My daughter has a twin bunk bed but wants sleep on top.
Ah, I mean, the top bunk is scary, you know? Joker? Face?
People who play Xbox buy cucumbers and latex at the same time.
Hey, what do you need latex for? Just gives it extra flavor.
Damn it! The gates are locked.
Sir, there's a scamp creeping up on you here.
There was Spider, and I didn't get it, so she had a reasoning for that.
Hurry and find Barrage
I mean, that's fair, Score Bunny. I also do not sleep well when I know there's a spider about that I missed.
We saw the smoke from the Gold Road. We'll be right.
Follow me if you want to live, or kill a bunch of shit. Either way. In fact, you know what? Just if you want to follow, because no guarantee you're going to kill it.
My husband is baking a cake.
Ooh, what kind of cake? Is it chocolate? I love chocolate. I remember when they first invented chocolate. Sweet, sweet chocolate. I always hated it. Yeah. Autocorrect is so much fun. Where are we going? Have I missed the exit? Came around here. Anything hidden? Treasure?
Not
Is it?
sure since I am not in the kitchen.
Well, that is a horrible excuse. You should be able to tell by scent. Or psychic ability. It's one of the two. Recognition. Guys, what are we even doing? Need to look for Beric Indian in Kavash's chapel. Apparently that's what I need to do. Beric, whatever your name is. There you are.
Just waiting for Captain Mattias to. Yes, you do the guard one little favor. You probably couldn't find it on your own.
Well, if it's down in the basement, yeah, you're probably right. I would not have been able to find that. Hey, Nova, what are you playing tonight? I mean, to me. Ooh. Ooh, that was close. Of course you're supposed to be
We finished
impressed.
homework earlier, so I am happy with that.
Hey, that's... I'm not looking forward to that. Final Fantasy 14? Hell yeah. Is that the... That's the online one, right? I need to try playing it. It's been a while. There's so many games I should do or need to. A very long list. Does it? Does it end here? Oh. Why do they all sound like a really angry Waluigi?
Syllabus is part of our homework, so it's easy.
Gotcha. That is the word I was literally trying to think of what that word was the other day. Oh, bad. Syllabus. I'm like, not agenda, not schedule. It's something else. It starts with an S, but I could not think of it for the life of me. Yena, greetings. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? Syllabus.
Adobe Slaughter Sim.
Hell yeah. Is there any better simulation than Adobe Slaughter Sim? Master is giving Dobby a sword. I used to. I haven't played COD for a while. Usually if I play, it's zombies. Master has given Dobby a sword to the gut. Dobby is dead. What? My treasure chest has cloth.
Given Dobby a Glock.
This is it. The entrance to the passage.
Dobby pops caps.
Whom are
This is Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Are you going somewhere, dude? Come on. Go.
If Captain Mattias is, I'm going to head back and meet up with the rest of the.
Okay, you do that. I'm gonna open the gate.
At first I thought it was a LOTR game, then saw Dobby, then your caption. I was all wrong lol.
I mean, that was, I was gonna say fairly close guess, but, maybe not. The Hogwarts Legacy, Lord of the Rings, Shadow of War,
I have watched Harry Potter movies so many times and have the books.
I have definitely watched them a multitudinous amount of times. I do love the movies. I've never read the books. I started the first book, but didn't get very far.
I play everything Oblivion is probably the best RPG leveling game there is pinch fingers.
Hell yeah, thank you for the follow, Yenna. Am I saying that right, by the way?
My favorite movie is Twister. GG's, buddy.
Hell yeah, thank you. Twister. I think I saw a tiny part of Twister when I was little. That was about it. Remember some part of them hiding in like culverts or like underneath a road in a tunnel thing. That was about all I remember. What? Hmm. Oh. Ah, I did all the hard work. Dance in the fire.
You are literally in a base RN and everyone is strapped with guns and crimson ha ha ha.
What the shit? Are you able to use guns now, or did you at least get the character that can? Let's get this over.
No, I unlocked the orc guy though.
Oh, good. I've not even got that far. Like, I thought I unlocked him, but apparently not. Sleepy Dave, greetings and welcome to the stream. Oh, I was gonna say, why is leather worth more than chainmail? But I guess it's barely, but hey. Galarian the Mystic. Yeah, I know you got some Argonian maid in here somewhere. Where is it? Heal Baron Zia. Oh, that's a fire. You're on fire, baby. A bird? Mind if I do? What do you mean, what is it? I just massacred one whole scamp. Time Worn Soul. Greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? Cornelius Goldwasser. Set. That it? That's all we got? So Cole, have you spent any time playing as any of the other characters, or just focused only on main dude? So far, it's only been main dude. Ruben, greetings. Welcome to the stream, bud. How's it going? Wee.
You done the Shivering Isles yet?
No, I just started a new game tonight.
For one, if the missions, but other than that, I just like Cliff.
Fair enough. Oh boy, I give you a super expensive ring for some shitty armor. Cheers, bud. No, I don't care. Pablo, greetings. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Hello, Pablito, Pablo Escobar. Look, I see. That's all. I don't have it. What?
So you haven't played before?
No, I mean I played the original one, but no, not on this particular playthrough. I've not done Shivering Isles yet. Last time I did Shivering Isles, it's been a still have that issue. I've got the discs for 360, and it's doing that weird thing where it gives you all but like one of the DLC, even though you have all of them. Fallout New Vegas did that to me too, and so did Fallout. So even though I've got the Ultimate Edition of all of them, like, yeah, we're gonna give you everything with these ones. You have to buy that on the Xbox 360 store, which you can't do. Stupid. But now that I finally got remastered again on the Series X, I can actually play Shivering Isles again. Hooray! Cheese for everyone. Wait, scratch that. Cheese for no. Hey, Sly Bill, welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing tonight?
Before remaster, I bought it back in like 07 from GameStop. First RPG, I love this game.
Definitely good back in the day. I just wish I'd got the like special pre-order edition of the original Oblivion, because you could actually get like a septum with it. Agreed.
Hello.
Hey, Thunder, welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing tonight?
I am doing good, you.
Doing fairly well, thank you. Just chilling. Playing some Oblivion tonight.
That's good to hear and welcome.
So, how was your day? Do anything fun and exciting? Just the usual for you?
Follower, if you just never take him back to Wayne and Prairie Love.
Dude, I would rather have the adoring fan than Martin.
Looked around the corner. Suddenly.
No. Settle it peacefully. It's a no from me. I'll give you a hand. I'll give you two of them. I'll beat you. I'll beat you off with both hands. Tempt. Also, how are you doing tonight, Skylar? Sorry, I didn't even greet you. I apologize. What you up to today?
I'm okay.
Good. Glad to hear it. Anything fun and exciting going on for you? All right, Joffrey. I know your dirty bastard ass has Argonian maid in here somewhere.
Tum hurts. Gonna go to gym at 4 a.m.
Ooh, that sounds awful. But I wish all the power to you. I definitely do not have that kind of willpower.
20 years of it becomes an addiction.
Oof. Yeah, that ain't. But good. At least you've got that kind of strength. Probably literally. You're not sleeping in owned bed. Well, I don't see the owner anywhere, do you?
Which,
Probably
20
dead.
years, you'd think I'd be bigger she.
That happens. Well, it depends. Are you focusing on gains or conditioning? I don't know shit about working out, but I know those words apply to it somehow.
Gains, but I have spinal damage, so I struggle some days.
Sorry. That.
The biggest
Amanda, greetings. Oh, really? I've got the opposite issue. Eating too much. As often. Especially sweets. Got a sweet tooth. Especially for chocolate. I'm self-aware. That makes it okay, right?
Have you gotten the Spire Say of Bruma-Free Wizard Lair?
Not on this plate. Benny, greetings. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? Where are the Jets? Get it? You know? Benny and the Jets? I'm so... You don't have...
Your timing is excellent. I'll take the one on the right. My blood for the Empire. My sword for the dragon.
My sword for the dragon? Dragon is sword.
Thank Talon.
If you don't know.
Without warning. I was praying in the chapel when I heard Prior Maberel shout, "The amulet. We need to go see if it is safe."
It is not safe.
Have known they could find. What of your mission? So it is not all gone. Martin. Nowhere is cloud. We should leave.
We should leave at once. Yeah, sure, if you say so, bud.
Rest easy until.
Rejoice. Through your faith, your something is banished.
If you go west across the bridge outside the Imperial City, there's a fisherman.
That it? Just go west and there's a fisherman. Nothing special about him. He's just there. Oh, I think I saw that one before. Well, shit, I think I did that one before on the old school game.
And he'll give you a ring with water beathing.
Ooh.
Slaughter fish.
I do love me some water breathing. Breathing water is my favorite pastime. The western cross the bridge.
Sorry, it only lets me type so much per chat.
No worries, you're good. Okay. We'll just start from the bridge itself. Go west. Jash, welcome to the stream.
Wait, no, quest line noted.
what you're eating.
Oreos. Like I said, sweet tooth.
Rumare, slaughterfish, specifically named due to them being in Lake Rumare.
Gotcha. Do like me some Elder Scrolls lore. Not the button. Whee.
The dish don't like to spawn sometimes, so you may have to wait an hour and come back here and there.
Gotcha. Where is the
Not that ring. There's also the thin gleam.
Ooh, isn't that like a fast swim kind of thing?
I am about to go get me some swim of myself hell with Call of Duty.
Have you ever seen any of Brotron's videos? Skooma Daddy of.
Helmet with night eye and water breathing.
Oh, nice. Skooma Daddy of the South. His videos are fucking awesome.
Yo, I just unlocked aerial swing. I can hook on buildings and swing up them now, ha ha ha.
Ooh, that's awesome.
West of Anvil in the ocean.
West Anvil. Oh, for the gleam something or other.
Edge of Anvil in the water.
Okay, gotcha. Where's the fisherman, though? Do one thing at a time. Pat, greetings and welcome. How's it going, bud?
He's outside during day. Should be right there in way.
Oh.
You need something special?
Unless you mortaled him.
Good news.
I did not yet.
Walk always in the shadow of cities.
Dark Brotherhood?
He has a headband.
Welcome to the Walnut Inn.
Okay.
There's a fresh. So, have a
Ew.
fun journey and keep yourself safe.
Aw, what a nice lady. Have a fine journey and keep yourself safe. I will indeed. Endanger myself at every turn. Red, greetings and welcome, and say Rui.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. You need something special?
Got that scoom.
Look at my wares. I'm sure there's something to suit you.
With a word? Damn. Right. That I don't get the money.
That's more than a... A good price for a...
Sanguine alter NPCs. Don't die use them for free LVLS in any attribute of attack or magic.
Okay. So kind of like beginning of Skyrim, where you can just hit the one dude over and over again, like before you leave the first dungeon. Ad bar.
They're froze from a curse.
Hey, there he is.
Yes, exactly.
You know
I just know you need water breathing later in the main quest, which is why I brought up the ring.
Who did I lose to?
Skyrim job.
Hell yeah, Skyrim job.
Wait, help? I was collecting their scales, see. Then last month, one of the the alchemist was paying so much for the scales.
Biggs, greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud?
But now I can't get out there to the lake. Not with this leg. I picked up a few things in my truck. Help an old fit.
Go fit. This Lake Rumare. I thought this was the Nibbit.
Yeah, getting the fish sucks.
Shit. Of course, you can always find slaughterfish when you don't want them.
If you track the quest, sometimes it'll lead you to them.
Oh, north. Is that it?
Regular slaughterfish don't count.
Oh, it's got to be specifically Lake Rumare. Lame. Lame, lame.
Acrobatics is the best master LVL jump off the surface of water hell with underwater.
Exactly. Dude, if you get water walking and that, shit.
The area around the whole lake counts, though. Some appear flopping on the bay.
Oh, nice. Let's see. Acrobatics and athletics are just the best skills anyway, because you can level up super cheap. Ugh. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. I just want to kill you. Mud crab. More mud crabs.
Again, sometimes
Hey, there we go.
away, then fast travel back after waiting a day.
How many do I even need? 12. Damn.
If you give up on it, I'd understand, lol.
Yeah, we'll see.
Took me like an hour when I did it.
Hello.
God forbid don't accidentally eat them.
Yeah, that would suck. Like eating the Crimson Nern root on Skyrim. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that.
Pour the fire salts, lol.
Oh, dude. Find 5 fire salts for the forge.
Alchemy skill for the L.
Right? But I have to eat it. I have to learn the alchemy ingredient. Certified freak. Welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing? Damn it. Fast travel to the wrong place. I gotta find that one asshole that's up here somewhere.
Herbs for 100 alchemy. Diabetes.
eat
She
like
wanted the
1,000.
D, so I gave her diabetes. Need emerald. There we go. Guys, horses are not allowed on the second floor. Third floor is okay, but don't you bring them to the second. That's illegal. Ah, yeah. It's the crystal bowl.
May I help you?
You can help. Let me just get my pants off first. Boop, ba-do-do, boop, boop, boo-ba-doop, ba-ba. Boop, 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 hello. Oh. Singing in the rain. Just singing in the rain. What glorious feeling. I'm happy again. Here, fishy. Ugh, fuck. Yo necesito pescado. ¿Dónde está? Vámonos, pendejo. Ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-bum, bum, bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, bum.
GG's bro Ema go eat. I added you back and followed. Get me some playtime myself.
Hell yeah. Oh, hey, I appreciate you hanging out, man. I hope to see you again soon. And again, I appreciate the help with the dupes. Enjoy your meal and have a fantastic day. Well, night and then day. Oh, yo. Here's Johnny. Yay, 3 out of 12 or whatever it was. Oh, and a nerd. So, Cole, what are your plans for tomorrow?
And people blessings of Talos.
Blessing of Tal. Oh, shit. Upon ye.
Working at 9:30 MWBU.
Ooh. Working at 7:30. So, I hear you. Tandrothus. Greetings. Welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing? Ah, shit. I knew exactly where that was putting me, but somehow I'm still surprised.
How about you?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Just chilling, playing some Oblivion. Trying to find some fishies. Really stupid, special, annoying slaughter. How was your day, man? Do anything fun and exciting today? Wait a minute. How did I get to third person? How do I get back to first person? Shit. Oh.
Working nights.
Ah, I gotcha. That is seldom fun. Sit your butt full straight on my arm, cat. It's super. Here's one. I've landed the fish.
I thought you got God, but I was supposed to get God that guy. It was hard. Ah.
Did you face another, oh yeah, you said you were facing a boss. Well, I'm glad to hear that went well. Did you get any, good loot from him? New weapon or anything cool like that?
Get better two-handed sword.
Nice. So far, the only two-handed sword I've been using is the Rondo, something like that. Ronado. Cool. Let's not drown. He chosen me. By the way, if anybody wants some kittens, the outside feral cat around our house is about to have a fuck ton of them by the looks of it. So hit me up if you want kittens. Both parents are black, so most likely they will also. And also spawn of incest. So, you know.
No, I don't like black JK, haha.
Yes. Both cats are female? You sure? Okay, so in that case, it might be black or orange. One of them. Pull it figured. Eat it.
Anvil is all in an uproar. First the chapel attack, now the prophet ranting about the end of the world.
I don't like being forced to play as another character. I have to be their giller now.
Ooh, yeah, I hate that. What I didn't like about basically any game where you can't create your own character. I want to be my own imagining of the cool character. You know, I don't want to be specific people.
I don't like playing at female characters, and same I like making my own.
It's surprising. Most, especially guys, tend to like playing as female characters. But hey, to each their own. James, welcome back. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. The Radio Lemon. Greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud?
I love Dark or Wood Elf, but Cyrodiil racist.
Right? Wood Elf is probably my favorite. Or Khajiit. Or Argonian. Usually Khajiit or Wood Elf, though. Something about that cannibalism, you know? Just does it for me.
You'll watch while I cook lol.
Hell yeah. What's you cooking? No, it's too bad Jeremy Soule kind of up and disappeared after some SA allegations. He's still got to be one of the best composers. I love it for all of the Elder Scrolls soundtracks. Travel, wait a while, and come back. William, greetings. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud?
I take it back, this chick Loki badass.
Oh, yeah? I only played as her as during that one intro mission. What kind of other stuff can she do? Luigi Siaka, greetings. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud? Andre, shit. Oh, hey. I forgot this was a... That's not... Minor Dispel. Well... Extreme Breed. Greetings and welcome to the stream. How's it going?
She can throw a lightning bolt downwards on enemies.
Oh. Does it do AoE damage, or is it just like a single target? I've definitely been wanting some area of impact.
AoE.
Ooh, even better. AAMRO. Greetings. Welcome. Welcome.
What LVL are you?
I think just level 2. Oh, yeah, there it is. Level 2. Bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-da-ba-da,
You know how Clifty can fly.
Yes.
But the orc can't.
So can she.
Can fly? What is the orc? Or does he have a special... Yay, I got one. I think I've got a total of 4.
He don't have a hover, so if you fall off a cliff you gone with him. With her she got some steampunk. Umbrella.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Sleepy Dave, welcome.
Have magic imbued arrows.
Nice. 5. So far, I'm just going for two-handed heavy. Or fishy, 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 fishy. Lays, welcome to the stream. How's it going, bud?
Umbra your best bet, then ebony armor and Umbra sword.
Ooh, yes. Halo Hero, greetings and welcome.
Only Fist Arena Challenge.
Hey, I do love a good fisting. But,
She got more health at the orc and cliff combined, lol.
really? Well, that's good to know. So far, I'm still at the part where anytime I try to switch to her, it says, this character is involved in an important mission.
I just got swung on by like 10 people and they didn't hurt me long.
Damn. But what you're saying is you're really skilled at taking 10 at once. Like 2 per hole and a couple per hand and
yes, I
mouth
and
and
say that.
Hell yeah. Look forward to finding out. All right. That being said, though, I am going to actually head out early tonight. I'm going to try to make this my normal ending time so I actually don't feel like death in the mornings. So, that being said, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you for all the tips and just being here with me. I love talking to you guys. And as always, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And peace out. Take care, guys.
Scout, Girl Scout.
Have a good one, guys. Look forward to seeing you.